Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about VHS 2. I watched this last weekend, and it is a movie that came out this year. I believe it came out to theaters in this month. I can't speak today. This is the first video, like the first time I'm talking this morning, so it's a little rough. Anyway, just stay with me. So VHS 2 is an anthology horror, and so it has 4 shorts, including also including one main storyline. This is similar, it's the same kind of concept as the first one. I did review the first one, so if you haven't seen my review on that yet, go ahead and click over here, and for my mobile users, I'll have the link down below. So each short is a found footage style. Everything's kind of first person perspective. It did premiere at the Sundance Film Festival this year, and it included different directors from the first VHS. So for the main storyline, it was about a private investigator that was hired to find a missing student. So him and his partner break into the student's house and find a collection of VHS tapes. It's very similar to the first one. The plot is different, but it's similar how they break in and find this TV room and all these tapes and stuff. So the woman, his assistant, I don't know, stays in the TV room with, there's like 5 or 6 TVs with just white noise, and he goes off somewhere. I don't know what he's doing, but he's off somewhere else in the house. But she stays and watches the series of tapes, and they begin to affect her. So there's also a computer there with a webcam video of the missing student, and he is talking about the tapes and how if you watch them in a specific order they begin to affect you. There's some creepy moments in that house, but the main movie, 90% of it, is the 4 shorts. So I actually gave each short its own rating, just a general overall number, just to give you an idea of what I thought about it. I'm going to talk briefly about each plot, not give anything away, and talk about why I liked it. Because they're so different, I can't really do an overall rating for the movie without going into each short individually. The first one is Phase 1 Clinical Trials, and this one is about a man who receives a bionic eye at his doctor's office, and it's because he lost his eye in a car accident. And he begins to see figures around him because of this eye, and he also meets a girl who was born deaf, and so she had a cochlear implant, and she can hear the figures. So I thought this was really creative because he could see them, she could hear them, but she couldn't see them, and she was very used to it. She was like, you just have to ignore it, and stuff like that, but he doesn't. But it was really interesting, the plot. I didn't particularly get the ending or really like the ending. I gave it an overall 9 though for this one. The acting was really good, and I liked the creativity of the plot. It was really interesting. The second one is actually my favorite one. It's called A Ride in the Park, and this is about a cyclist riding through a forest, and suddenly he comes across this woman who's very panic-stricken and is asking for help with her boyfriend, and she turns into a zombie. It is a zombie story. So he turns to run, and he sees like a collection of zombies coming his way, and he does end up getting bit. That's not a spoiler because it happens towards the beginning. And because it's all shot on his helmet cam, which I thought was really interesting, and he has like a bicycle cam so you can see his face while he's riding, but then once he's off the bike, all on the helmet cam, you really get to see his perspective of everything. And he's a zombie, so it's really cool how they do that. How they shot it to be all first-person zombie. The ending is really beautiful, and I know that's such a weird adjective to describe a zombie movie ending, but it's so sad, but it is absolutely amazing. The ending was perfect. I loved it. It was very sad and depressing, but beautiful at the same time. So that one overall got a 9. It lacked creativity because it was such a generic zombie story. You don't know where the zombies come from. There's no explanation. It's just kind of, that's what it is. And you don't really get much plot. It's just basically him eating people and stuff like that. But then the ending is really awesome. So the third one is definitely the most complex. and it's my second to least favorite. I actually liked the first two. The second two weren't my favorites. So this is the most complex. It shows the inside of an Indonesian cult, and there's this guy named Father who sleeps with the children to purify them. That's where the scare factor comes from. It's the disturbing aspect of this man who sleeps with the children. They never full on say that, but there's so many hints towards that you know that's what they're talking about. There's a lot of weird behavior going on. It's a cult, so that's kind of a given, and eventually it leads to a mass suicide. How they make this first person is there is a group of people who are filming a documentary about this specific cult, and they just happen to pick the day that they do the mass suicide. That's really disturbing to me. They give the children like poison to drink, and then you see like 9 men or so in a room, and they all shoot themselves at the same time in the head, and that's really scary. So there are disturbing aspects, but there is so much plot going on. I wish they would have just ended it at the mass suicide, but no, they keep on going. It's like a satanic cult, and they're doing this to please this demon thing that actually comes out of a woman. It like bursts out of her stomach. It's really strange, and it looks like a goat ram demon thing, and that was actually pretty scary until you saw it like full on at the end, because you just saw this like giant silhouette figure creature thing, and that was scary. So yes, it turns out that all the people who killed themselves turn into these like zombie-like creature things. I don't know, it was really strange, and it just kind of follows this one guy who is trying to get away from this demon devil thing. So overall I gave it a 7. I thought it was too much plot for such a short film, because, you know, it's a short, it's supposed to be like simple, and that's what I liked about the first two. They were simple. And the fourth one was also simple, but this one, it was just so much plot. It was pretty creative to turn a cult into like a horror thing. I liked that, but the devil demon thing, wasn't a fan of that. So the last one has the most creative title I think ever. It's called Slumber Party Alien Abduction. It's the stupidest title I could have probably ever thought of for a movie about, you guessed it, a sleepover alien abduction. This one was definitely my least favorite. It wasn't scary. It had its moments of creepy, but it wasn't like really scary. It shows a typical fighting between a brother and sister. You have the younger brother who is hanging out with his friends, and they kind of torment the older sister who is hanging out with her boyfriend and their friends. The little girl just laughed at me because she saw me filming. And then all of a sudden aliens appear. That's basically all I can really go into about this one, because that's all that happens. Aliens show up. It's like Signs, and it's really, I don't know, the aliens were not scary at all. You could totally tell it was just a man in an alien costume, and the creepiness that I mentioned came from when they were like swimming in the lake, and you see like this other figure swimming. You can't really see it. And then when they're in the house, in the living room, and all of a sudden you see like their silhouette really fast. There's like a flash of their silhouette in the back door, and that was really scary. But then you see them like full on, and it's not scary. When you lose the mystery of something, you lose the fear of it, because we all fear the unknown, and that's what makes certain movies scary, is because you can't see it, you don't really, you know, get what it is, and that's scarier to me than seeing like a full-on alien that is the typical alien. Like, it's just like a costume. It was kind of stupid. I wish they had made it some scary creature if they wanted to go with the alien thing. I gave it a 6. I know it's really harsh. I don't think I've ever given something that low of a score before, but I'm feeling a little harsh today, so I'm gonna give it a 6. Yeah, it wasn't really that enjoyable. I also did the overall rating for this movie as a whole, factoring in everything from each short and the main plot. So I know that's a lot to pack into just an overall rating. Some bring the score down, some bring it up. So let's just get into it. The acting overall, I gave it a 7. Wasn't the best acted movie. It is kind of not like an indie movie, but not a huge budget film. so you don't expect to get full-on like huge actors. The plot I gave a 9 because of the creativity of the first two. Well, the second one kind of lacked creativity. My cats are eating out of my cereal bowl right now. The second one kind of lacked creativity, but the first one I thought was creative. The third one, I gotta give it credit, it was creative because I've never seen anything like that before. But overall, the plot was a 9. I thought it was okay. The characters I gave an 8. I mean, it's pretty typical. They're not all the best characters. They're very standard, but I thought they were well done. Scare factor, overall an 8. It's a lot of average scares. I think there wasn't anything really scary. The scariest part about it, I think, was the very ending when you go back into the house with the TV room and stuff. That was pretty scary to me, that ending, so that's basically what brought the score up to an 8. Effects were an 8. They're not a higher score just because the devil thing was not done well, the aliens weren't done well, but the other effects were pretty good. The gore was alright. Otherwise, yeah, it was cool. The gore in the second one was really good. That's what kind of brought it up to an 8. I liked it. Overall, as a whole, I give this movie an 8. It is definitely worth watching. I loved it. As a whole, it was really awesome. I love these kind of short anthology horror movies, except for ABC's The Death. Do not watch that one. But I can't decide which one I like better, the first VHS or the second one. You let me know which one was your favorite, or if you haven't seen the second one, I recommend watching it. I'll have the trailer linked down below, so definitely watch that. The trailers aren't really a tale or a tell to what this movie really is, because when you watch the trailer, you see a bunch of scenes picked from each short, but you don't know what's going on. It's really hard to tell what these movies are by the trailers, so hopefully this gives you some insight to what it is actually about. But yeah, let me know which one was your favorite if you've seen both down below. Make sure to leave requests down below, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.